Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be kind of a look at one of the presentations at FarmCon. We're going to take a look at some of the new things to the Giants engine. This is a PowerPoint presentation that I'm screen capturing at the event. It's just the best that I can do. There are some videos I'm going to play for you. So again, understand some of this is going to be in German. I think it's for the most part actually in English, so just be aware of that. But yes, very cool things are coming. So we have the Giants Engine 10, which is going to have improved fog, dynamic shadows, weather effects, vehicle improvements, terrain improvements, various other improvements, and performance improvements. You'll see, as we've talked a little bit, a non-uniform density when it comes to, the fog, which means if you're on a different part of the map, it may not always be there, which is pretty cool. You can kind of see that. I'll play this. And you guys have seen this before, I understand that. If you guys watch the other content, I guess, on my channel. So the cool things with this, there's a lot of cool stuff to note here. The non-uniform density, that means if you're on one part of the map, it might be foggy, but in the other half of the map, it might not be foggy, or the other part of the map you're on. You'll see dynamic accumulation of fog and things like that in valleys and waterways and stuff like that. And again, it'll change with the weather and the time of day, which is pretty cool. So again, with the fog here, we have another great video of it, which I'll play for you guys here real quick. So you can see kind of that low-hanging fog, and this is the same kind of videos that we saw earlier. And I do have other new content that's going to be coming. They did release some new videos for us to be able to show you guys off here at FarmCon. So we should have some of that coming as well. Hopefully we'll be able to get this stuff out to you guys as fast as possible. But you can see that nice low-hanging fog, which is pretty cool. And then around the trees, it's a little bit more. It's really cool. Some of the cool things that are coming with this game. It is definitely not a reskin, contrary to some of what you guys say. It drives me crazy when you guys say that. Definitely not that. Okay, volumetric lighting with sun shadows and then the God rays, which if you see that, you can see it really clear right here if we take a look. You can see some of that coming through the trees there, which is fantastic. Oh, I stopped it there. I'll let it play again. But you can see some of that coming through the trees. You're going to see a lot of really improved features when it comes to the lighting, which is going to be absolutely incredible to see. So you'll be able to see a lot of that happening. So yeah, you can see some of it through there, through the water tower there in the background. It's absolutely phenomenal. The game just actually just looks incredible. And we've gotten some more footage as well, which just shows it off even more. So there you go. If we continue down the line here, we have volumetric lighting for local lights, for street lamps, stuff like that. I'll play this real quick for you guys so you can see how they look at night. You can see that it's going to be very difficult to farm at night, just like it would be in the real world. So lightings look very different. And here we see tractor, and you can see how that looks on there, which is really incredible how that lighting is on there. And you can see the railroad lights in the background there, and you'll see those again here in a second. And you can see the tractor driving away in the background. The lighting is incredible, looks very realistic, very real, and feels very real. They have announced some new features as well, which we'll do some videos on that coming to you guys soon. But yeah, you can see just in the fog, even just in the daytime there, how the lights are hitting everything. It's absolutely incredible. There's another good look there at the Massey Ferguson, some of the lighting there. And some of the stuff we haven't actually seen before, which is pretty sweet. So moving on from there, cloud shadows, fully dynamic based on the actual cloud. So if I play this for you guys real quick. I know I'm playing just a lot of videos kind of talking about it, but you can see how the cloud shadows change on the fields down below with the wind conditions and stuff like that as they change. So it's going to feel like a much more realistic environment, a much more realistic feel to it. And again, this isn't finalized, but what I can tell you is it's not going to get worse. Some people are like, well, we'll actually see if it comes to the base game. They're not going to have all these improvements, announce them at FarmCon, and then take them away. They've never done that. Giants won't do that, so you don't have to worry about that happening. But yeah, the shadows of the clouds there look absolutely impressive and look incredible. There we go. We'll get to the end of this video. Move on to the next one here. So soft shadows, the further away from the blocker, the blurrier, which is pretty cool. So you have some of the soft shadows you can see down there at the bottom. With overcast sky, shadows become softer. That's awesome. So just in general, just really good shadow improvements to make it look a lot nicer. You can see some more of that there. Yeah, you can see it just looks fantastic. This game looks amazing. Shadows for vehicles, merge shadow lights. So you can see even at night, the shadows on there look fantastic with the lights coming off of another vehicle and hitting that vehicle there. It looks absolutely incredible, which is great. If we move down a little bit further, you can see kind of a little bit more of a technical version of how that looks. Weather effects, additional mud on tires, unlike dirt, reduced when driving. So You can see some of the mud on those tires. That's incredible how they're really built up over here, and they kind of work through that process. So that's going to be something that's going to be really cool for us to see. Rain effects on vehicles, water droplets on the machine. So this just looks incredible. And tire color darkens when wet, which is also very realistic. So that's going to be really cool to see some of those new effects as well in the game. Moving on from there, weather effects, improved rain visuals. That looks incredible. There's rain splashes happening, and there's a wet look. So darker color and more reflective is what stuff will be when it's wet. So kind of like you get a road surface or like a tarmac or something wet. It'll be more reflective. Light will reflect off it a little bit better. We're actually going to see that in the game. And interactive water simulation, which we haven't really seen a whole lot of this yet. So I'll play this for you guys. I'm going to turn that volume down just so it doesn't kind of bleed through the mic. But you can see that anywhere the tractor moves or adjusts its speed or whatever, you can see it's kind of on like a flooded rice field here. It's not like it's in too deep of water right now, but you can see how that water interacts with the tires and everything. And the tires are wet. You can see that. It's not raining out. So the tires are wet because they're driving in water, and the vehicle is getting wet as a result of that. You can see the wheels look wet. It looks absolutely incredible. Now, all the presentations are in German, so we're giving you the best that we can in terms of information without getting translated stuff before. So there will probably be more information coming about all of these in the future, so just be aware of that. But that looks incredible. Physically based calibration. So this is going to be more to do with the weight stuff. I can't really explain all this to you. Again, it's in German. Clear coat layer, so you're going to see a little bit more detail on, just stuff in general on the damage and stuff like that. So you can see there's going to be kind of a clear coat. On top of that, there could be dirt or snow. Then there's the base coat, then the primer. Then you're actually going to see the body of whatever it may be. And I believe that's going to apply to all of the vehicles here. So here we have a version of the clear coat. Then we can see the clear coat layer kind of a little bit better there. I was hoping they were going to show all of them. You can see, I think that's just two different visuals there of the clear coat, how the light's shining off it, which is pretty cool still to see, to be fair. I was hoping we'd see all the way down through all this, but it doesn't look like we have that in here. Higher terrain resolution. And again, some of these things I'm not exactly sure, other than they're going to make the game look a lot better in terms of that. Higher terrain resolution displacement mapping, so you can see a little bit, the terrain's a little bit more in depth and a little bit more complex here. Now, getting to some of the cooler stuff here. So displacement mapping for fields, influence physics simulation. We do have some cool stuff that's going to happen here, which I'm going to just jump right to it. This is the dirt deformation. So now the one thing I will say, this is very cool. So you'll start seeing this on fields and stuff like that, and adjust based on the weight and the width of the tires and all sorts of other factors. They've actually done a really good job with it. We'll take a look at that. There you can see it a little bit better. But this will happen. Now the downside, because if you saved all this data, it would be too big for the game save. So it'll be just like tire tracks, where you can have it set to a lower number that's saved or a higher number that's saved for a longer time. But it won't save this permanently. So if you keep driving over a field, it's not going to save all the deformation to it. So just be aware of that. But it's still an improvement in the right direction, I think, which is pretty cool. There's some different tree rendering stuff that's a little bit different. Here we're going to see a little bit different improvements with the sky. You can see that looks like there's nice stars up there, an enhanced moon. Very cool. I love the stars up there. That's fantastic. Double-sided rendering, so less vertices for thin objects. So things are just going to look thicker and like more full. And we can see some of that kind of happening here. Those are kind of the thickest, most complex crops we've seen kind of in the game, and those just look really full, which is really cool to see. So I like that. I'm not sure everything we're showing off here, but you can see some of that there on that specific just little piece of wheat or whatever the crop is there. You can see how much detail is in that and how cool it is compared to how it used to be before, which is awesome. So, yeah. Moving on from there, we're also going to see this with trees, which we've kind of shown off before on the channel. If you looked at some of the gameplay footage that DJ and I analyzed, you'll see a lot of that, which is pretty cool. So, performance, geometry size compression, automatic interval compression reduces vertex data. Example, data size giants engine versus V10 reduces geometry size from 8 megabytes to 4.5 to reduce the slot count. So again, even as we are making and adding more complexity and more graphical details, they're setting it up in a way that makes it so it is better and more easy for people to be able to enjoy the game on a reduced slot count. Virtual texturing for terrain, cheaper terrain rendering, especially displacement parallax mapping. Again, I'm not sure all of what this is going to have to do with everything. Again, it's all in German. We should be able to get some more information, so I might be able to put that in here at the end. But there's a lot of really cool things done with the game. and a lot of stuff in the Giants Engine 10 that I think, people are saying, use a different game engine. There's a lot of really cool details with it that are going to make it a lot more detailed. I mean, just look at that. There's just the ability for them to be more complex and stuff like that. No geometry for streets, so you can see it's just all going to kind of blend together a little bit better like that. So we can see all sorts of more detail, and you can see how the tracks are kind of formed in there and everything like that. It's very well done. But yeah, a lot of cool performance stuff, blending the terrain. This is kind of everything I have right now. I might put some more stuff in here at the end if I get some more information to you guys before I end up editing in this and putting it out. But if not, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel. Turn your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching.
All right, FSG, go ahead with your question.
Firstly, thank you, Stefan, for giving us some time. Really interested in the fog. There's been a lot of focus on the fog, but how much control will modders and players have around that? Or is it based on time of day, type of weather, how much fog there'll be?
So the fog is completely controlled by the game, right? So the players don't really have any influence on the fog. So, but the modders definitely have a lot of control as well to the scripting and the XMLs we have that you can control the different settings that we provide from the engine.
Okay. That's good to know. All right. Someone else got a question?
Where should I talk to? Should I talk to the camera?
Or just pretend like the camera's not there. It picks up audio everywhere.
Yeah. No, but for the visuals, I mean.
You can look at them.
Oh, no, you're good. It's really just for audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about the shadows of vehicles and the merged shadow lights, the picture of the Fendt with the lights projecting forwards. Does a player's character, like when you move through, like the God rays, will that be affected by character movement? Will the light be affected with that?
So the God rays only work for the sunlight,
right?
For performance reasons. So we're not taking the shadow information from the local lights into the volumetric lighting.
Okay. But the merged shadow lights, when you show the tractor, if you walk in front of the tractor, will there be any shadow cast by the character? I saw that shot of the light coming off the front of the tractor, and just the first thing that struck me was, would that be a thing? But
well, I mean, basically any object that's there is going to cast a shadow on it, right?
So that includes the player.
Well,
it includes if you're walking.
Everything that kind of visually is there, yes.
okay.
And I'll ask because I know someone's going to ask, what do you mean by non-uniform density when it comes to the fog?
Mm-hmm. That means basically in the past, right, we had the option to specify a single plane, how high the fog can go. And we had a distance fog so that it just gets has a kind of a constant density, so you have more fog in the distance, right? And now we have the option to specify a different density for every position in the world. So we can have those local denser fogs around the water. We can have, based on the terrain evaluation, we can have like different levels of fog. So we can say, well, for example, we should have fog like 1 meter above the ground everywhere. So and also we have that functionality to define fog that's denser in valleys. Because usually kind of those particles accumulate within kind of valleys but they can't move away, and that's what we simulate as well. So it just gives way more dynamic scenes basically.
Okay.
I was going to ask about the additional mud on tyres. I think it's a fantastic effect to have added in. Is there going to be an animation that comes with that? So as the mud's coming off, will there be an animation of mud coming off, or will it just be a gradual thing that will gradually just disappear?
Well, both, right? So it basically gradually increases, so we can animate that. It's not a binary effect. And we have like particles spawning off when
brilliant.
Falls off, yeah.
Fantastic.
Is it just mud and dirt, or are there other things like gravel or lime fertilizer?
Yeah, snow.
Snow. Does it work the same or similar?
Yeah, so we do have something for snow as well, yeah. Okay. Kind of the same effect but differently colored.
Yeah.
But that's all taken part of as well.
Okay. The ground deformation, will the time of year affect? So like in the wintertime, when it's cold, the ground's hard, will it deform less than in the summertime, for example?
Yeah. So we have like a couple parameters we can control based on that. Also on the wetness, right? We can make it softer as well.
Okay. And the sticky mud on tires that unlike dirt reduces when driving, does it make your vehicle heavier? Does it slow you down a little bit, or is it just visual?
At the moment, it's just visual,
Okay.
but of course, it's open to add whatever effect as well. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
When things get wet, like when it rains and you get like the roadways that gets wet and everything like that, does it just become dry after it stops raining, or does it take time for it to dry? Like, will it still have the wet look for a while?
It takes a while until it gets drier, so it fades out over time. Yeah.
Okay.
Back to ground deformation. I know we talked about it for tyres and things like that. Anything else? Field, if you are ploughing or digging or anything like that. Is there any additional kind of level?
There's no kind of digging
dig
way
down.
with like an excavator or so, but the gameplay can control some certain effects of the ground deformation as well. So it's not just like directly physics driven; it can also be changed by the gameplay code as well.
Okay.
Very cool. Does it do all of the ground textures, so like gravel, dirt, fields? Do they all behave the same, or they all behave a little differently when deformation?
So the ground deformation basically works all over the world, right?
Okay.
It's not just limited to the fields.
Okay.
But each basically ground type can control how much it can deform and how easily it's going to be deforming.
Okay, nice.
So of course, like if you have like an asphalt area or so, it's not going to deform at all.
Yeah.
And then you might have gravel just a little bit, and then yeah.
And is the ground so for like the vegetable ridges? Is that now done by the ground deformation, or is that still done by displacement mapping? Is it between the two?
Well, basically the displacement mapping and the ground deformation is kind of the same, right? So
Okay.
we're using we're dynamically generating the displacement mapping information. So kind of those ridges is part of the displacement mapping of the field texture. But after driving over it with a tractor, so you can dynamically change those areas.
How long does it stay after it's... So if you've driven a tractor through a ploughed field like the photo, the screenshot, how long before that goes away? Does that change if it rains? Does it slowly disappear? Or
At the moment, the ground deformation doesn't go away automatically.
okay,
Except for memory reasons, right? We cannot store all that information for the whole world, so there's a certain memory budget, and similar to the tire tracks we had or so.
after time it will
Right,
disappear.
so at some point, some of the information is discarded, but it's not kind of an automatic thing over time or so.
Okay.
Also, one more question.
Yeah, sure.
We saw the tire tracks going through the plowed field. If you plow that field up again or seed it, do those go away then after you've gone back over them?
Yeah, so the plowing would basically reset everything to the texture information, yeah.
As you cross it though, so as you cross it, would cut through it or would it just disappear? So if the tracks are going this way and you're ploughing this way, you would just get one plough mark through the tracks?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Crossover. With the crop textures a lot bigger texture density, will that mean sort of driving through a crop and crop destruction will mean narrower tracks as a result? Because at the moment you drive through something and the track might be twice as wide as the tyre.
The information for the foliage itself is still with the same density
Still the
as
same.
we had, yes.
Right.
So basically
look the
moving
same
or not
for
is
sure.
going to be the same, yes.